like, dude, you're already doing all the things. Now you pay for it. And because she's like, yeah, sometimes people ask me like what I'm doing. I'm like, I know. She tried the Lava program and she loved it. Like loved it. She's like, I do yoga and I've never done anything like this. And I was like, and that's just the beginning. You just did the test. Trust me, it gets worse in a good way.
It gets worse in the best possible way.
I love this program.
I love it.
I didn't think I was gonna love it, but I'm like, I can see this being like in addition to everything that I'm doing for the rest of my life.
I love it. I'm doing it in combination with Dig Deeper, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, when I get back, I'll
So
start
good.
Dig Deeper again and have this as included in it because I'm obsessed.
It's so good. It's so
And
good
like,
for so many reasons.
I don't even think you need those rest days in the weekends. Like I kind of went
No.
through because it's just, I mean, because it's only 20 minutes. Yeah, it's intense, but I'm like, I'm gonna finish this bad boy in 5 weeks and start over.
How long are you gone for? 3 weeks? A month?
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks? Nice. Very, very nice. It'll be fun. So I love that where we started this combo, because that's kind of what I wanted us to touch base on today, was following up, like what our follow-up system is, what our follow-up structure is. Oh, Tanzania's here.
What?
Oh, we have to stop and then be like, what? Are you there?
Oh, real C's?
T, are you there?
Are you there? They should do a call on just the accent. Let's get us all in the Sabrina accent. Are you there?
Are you there? Girl, yes. Yes. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, looking good.
I was just about to give up.
When school go back, Mama?
Teachers go back next week.
Oh, ready, man.
Yes.
It's crazy. I feel like the summer goes by so fast. I think that's me. Our fire alarm is like doing that chirpy thing.
Oh my God, I was just about to get up and go check my house.
No, like, it's me. It woke me up this morning. That was fun. Yeah, so today I wanted us to chat about our follow-up system, how we follow up with the people that we're in conversation with, what that kind of cadence looks like. And then also like just in your inviting structure, like when you're inviting to a specific start date for a specific challenge or whatever it is that you're doing, what happens until you're inviting to the next one publicly? Like, what does that behind the scenes look like to make sure that we're keeping momentum going through our business? So what does your follow-up kind of process look like right now? Do you have one?
Well, I guess my follow-up right now is the piece that I'm struggling with, is because it's like I'm reaching back out to the same people that I invited. And then they may say, well, not right now. Now it's not a good time, any number of different excuses of why they can't. And then when it's time for me to communicate back, I'm kind of stuck at what to say next.
Yeah.
So that's the piece that I'm struggling with. I've contacted people within the group that we just ran, and only a handful of those people actually participated in the group. And then only a couple out of those people, so I guess 3 out of those people actually are considering signing up as a partner. So I'm just struggling with, how do you continue a conversation with someone who's already told you they're not interested? Or should you just move on to the next set of people you're talking to and then circle back?
Cal, what do you think?
we were just talking about that people will always have some type of excuse. And I think just kind of keeping a note of what people are saying and being able to challenge. Because really, if you think about it, I think excuses are often, I think they're justified, but if we say those excuses, then that's what our life becomes. So I would check in on like what were they interested in the first place. So for example, they did do a challenge group with you. There was a reason why they joined it, right? So really getting to that, I think working on getting to that why early on will really help you to be like, yeah, I can understand that, this isn't the right time, but, especially like what I get a lot of pushback for moms is like, I'm really busy. And I was like, girl, when aren't we not going to be busy? Right. So I think it's important to get to the why for like, why would this be important to you right away as a way of helping them like reconnect to what's important. And then what I do is I do circle back, but I don't ever want to seem desperate. I don't want to ever seem like, oh, you're the only person I'm trying to get. I'm like, awesome, I got some other people, starting here. I'll reach back out to you next month, see if that works for you. Kind of a situation. And then when I check in, I'm like, hey girl, I know that we were gonna do this last month, but things weren't right for you. How's it feeling this month? Right? Like kind of reconnect in that way. But if they've just recently said no to me, I will try to challenge them. That was something new that I've been starting to do and just be like, well, kind of challenge some of those reasons. I'm trying to remember which of the training that I recently watched. It was a recent training, and I will, if I can remember it, I will link it in the Slay Squad. I'll link it so you can watch it because she was talking about like challenge those things. I think it was really good. You know what? It actually wasn't taped. It was who's the second
Power Hour? Was it a Power Hour person?
Yeah, it was Emily. Emily? No, Erin Hopkins.
Erin Hopkins.
She didn't record that because she wants people there, and but it was really good. And she was just like, stop letting people get away with their own bullshit. Just ask them, like, challenge them right away. Right.
Yeah. And that's a really good point, Kel. Like, you have to know what their why is in order to be able to do that from a value-led place, rather than oh, but I need this sale. Like, why won't you do this? Right. But rather understanding what it is that they're struggling with, understanding, like, having them have clarity that if they don't change this, what does life continue to look like? And then having, like, being able to bring that back front and center to them when they give you whatever excuse it is. Because most of the time, understanding that people give an objection, it's based out of like they're afraid of something. Either they're afraid of failing, or they're afraid of, making this investment and then not using it. Because how many times have they done that before, where they've paid for X, Y, and Z thing and then they've never used it before? So they're afraid of not following through. So it's our job to almost be their coach before we're their coach. Give them the ability to be like, okay, yes, you're right. This is what I need for whatever reason it was that they gave you in the beginning. Which is why all those questions and those conversations straight out of the gate are so important, because then it gives you all of this knowledge at the start.
Okay.
Does that help?
It helps a lot.
Good. And then when it comes to like the cadence of following up, Kelly and I talked about this last week or a couple of weeks ago, was how I do it is I'll do the initial invite, and then 2 days later, if I haven't heard from them, I'll send a follow-up just saying, hey, I just wanted to make sure you got this last message. I'm here to chat if you're interested. And then if they don't respond to that, but they continue to be watching my stuff, being engaged in my social media or whatever, I will send them a message like a couple of days before we start the challenge, whatever it was that I invited them to before, and just say, hey, I was just thinking about you. We get started in 2 days or whatever. If you are interested in doing this with us, then reach out and let's talk about it. And then if they don't respond, then I leave them to it, and kind of just take their cue of our continued engagement or communication based on how they're engaging with me. I kind of let them take the lead. And then if they say I sent the invite, they responded saying, yes, tell me more information. I would love to know. I give them the information. Then if they don't respond the next day, I say, hey, just wanted to make sure you received all of that. Do you have any questions for me? And then it will be, if they don't respond to that, a week later, I'll send them another message. And then a week after that, it will be like a final, hey, I don't want to be a pest. I just want to make sure that you know this is still available to you. It doesn't seem like it's the right time, so I'll circle back with you next month or whatever. So giving yourself some kind of system, I think, is really helpful. So whether you have like 2 days and then 4 days and then a week or whatever, it just gives you that ability to like have that rhythm and you know what you're doing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I've really liked that, the way that you've done it, Sab, and I've started to implement it that way too, because it just makes it really easy to just, like, every couple of days and just kind of checking back in. Because often I don't think everybody's super distracted. I mean, let's be honest. So it's nice to be like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. I didn't even do this. So I think it's a good way to do it in a way that's like, I'm here, but not be so
pesty. Yeah. I say to people all the time, like, one of my sentences, I don't want to be the pest in your inbox, but I just wanted to make sure that, you know, you received what I sent you and blah, blah, blah. And people always say, oh my gosh, you're not a pest. Thank you so much for reminding me. That's always the response. So we sometimes, I think people hesitate to follow up because I don't want to sound salesy or I don't want to bother people. But if you think about it from a customer service standpoint, like if, say, you walked into a store and the person at the front door says, hey, welcome, as they do, is there anything that I can help you with? And you're like, no, I'm good. I'm just, you know, sightseeing. I'm just looking. And they're like, okay, if you need anything, I'm here. And then you walk around the store and you're like looking at something. You're like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they have this in my size. Oh, I don't know. It's not on the shelf. I don't know if they have this in my size, but you feel shy about asking them and they never come and talk to you ever again. Would you consider that good customer service in the store? That they didn't like, they saw you looking at something and they're like, okay, yeah, you can take care of yourself. I asked you once. I asked you right at the beginning if you wanted anything, you said no, so figure it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's giving them, I really see following up as your customer service in action.
Another really big, great point that I keep going back to is how we're going about doing it. So, like, if you're sitting down, like, hey, girl, well, it's like that energy is very different than when you're like up and walking around and like getting yourself to a space where you feel good, because people feed off that energy. Like, whatever she's on, like, I kind of need some of that. Right. But I think it's important. That is also what Erin Hopkins was saying. She's like, get up. Like, when you're inviting, when you're following up, like, show that you're excited, show that this is a part of something, because it definitely feels different when I do it from a sitting perspective versus when I'm standing up and like looking around and doing all that stuff. So I think the energy part of it is really important. Is probably one of the most important things for me. Like, if I listen to somebody's message, I'm like, I don't know, I'm not feeling her. Right? I'm probably not gonna lie.
Yeah, energy is huge. Being in a really good like space when you're inviting or following up or in conversation with people, and send voice messages as much as you can. It really does make a massive difference when it comes to that connection piece, because they get to hear you, they get to hear your excitement. They know it's not just a copy and paste situation, that you're actually spending, like, taking that time to send them a specific, hey, I see you message. At least like when you can. Obviously, if you're in an environment, you're having to squeeze these activities in when you're somewhere where you can't do that, then, you know, send a written message. But when you can, send voice messages, even when, you know, maybe you send a written message first and then they come back and say, oh, I am interested, tell me more. Send them a voice message saying, I'm so excited to share this with you. Like, tell me, what are you struggling with right now? You know, like having that moment to connect personally with them. people really love that. I had somebody start following me on my social media a couple of days ago, and I sent her, she'd like started following me, and I sent her my standard message that I send people that start following me, to offering her my lead magnet. And she'd responded back to a story where I was making my Energize, doing whatever, and she'd said, give me her email address, and then said, what is this that you're drinking? I hope I'm not overstepping, but I would love to know what this is. So I sent her a voice message and just told her what Energize was. And I said, that email is on its way to you. If you don't see it, check your junk mail. If you want me to send you the links, you can check out what this pre-workout is for yourself, then feel free to let me know and I'll send that to you. And she was like, oh my God, I've never had someone send me such a personal message before. Like, the fact that you even contacted me to begin with was already amazing. And then you went out of your way to send me a voice message to answer my question. I so appreciate, like, it was as if I'd laid in her house with gold. I was like, it's really not that big of a deal, but people really love that. They love that connection point. And I think that's bringing the social back to social media, is connecting with other human beings as much as we can. I know that I have one, but somebody else has a chirper too, because it's not just me.
It's not me.
Cal, you do have a chirper. I was like, it's happening too frequently for it to just be me.
Is it possible, Sabrina, that you can send me, like, can you pretend that I am a new prospect and send me like the 3 messages that you send out?
Absolutely. And I will do that for you right now. And then I will
I do not have a chirper. I don't know where that's coming from. It's not me.
because I can, when I do this, I hear mine, and then there's another one that's in this ear from one of you. Someone has a chirper. And then in our Facebook page, under the file section, there's a whole PDF that I wrote that has a bunch of different wording, kind of script ideas. Okay, here's just one kind of initial. I'm going to put it in the chat here so you can copy and paste it, whatever. That's kind of a pretty standard from somebody who's has watched something that I've shared about my challenge or whatever it is that I'm doing. And then I have other ones when it comes to and this is for somebody who I've invited before, and I wanted to invite them again. And then I have like a very short sentence one too. And then if somebody responds to a poll or something like that I put in stories with their interest, whether it's for our team or a challenge group, I'll just change that wording. This is what I send them. So if somebody has expressed interest from either a post that I've made or a story that I've shared or whatever, then I'll send them that. So yeah, just making it sound like you, I think, is the important thing. And then when you're sending voice messages, just speaking as if you were talking to somebody like face to face. I think that's a big part too. It's funny because Gio started sending voice messages on his WhatsApp threads to his different people all over the world. And he sounded like a robot. Like when he talked, I was like, why are you talking like that? And he was like, what? I said, you sound like, what? That's not how you speak. Just talk how you talk. And he was like, oh, okay. He was trying to be kind of like robotic. was like, that's just weird. Speak how you speak, with the cadence, with the slang, with the whatever it is that you say, because you're wanting people to know you. Like, one of the best things you could ever have someone say to you is when they meet you in real life, or they see you on a Zoom, or they whatever, that you're exactly the same as that you were in your interactions with them, how you show up on social media, you're exactly the same. Because you don't want to have like your social media persona and then you, like, you are you.
Right.
Let people see you.
So I have had situations where I will be talking to someone and then they will just open up and then they'll say all this stuff in a message. And then I feel like at that point, I kind of feel stuck because I'm just trying to figure out how to respond in a way where it makes it easy for them to know what to do next. Because it's so much information. And then I'm like, okay, so where does this go? You know, it's just too much information, basically, is what I'm saying. So just trying to figure out how to direct someone when they've opened up like that.
Kel, what would you say about that? Have you had that experience where someone's like really opened up and said, like, word vomited everything that's wrong in their life?
Often with my experience, when people do that, they need an outlet. They need somebody in some place to share. I try to listen, but I also try to kind of find like what's really going on. Like kind of listen to the words, but listen to between the lines, right? Because normally when they're doing that, it's almost like they are needing something. And sometimes I just ask questions like, what would be most helpful for you right now? Or what is, if you could change one thing, what would that look like? So just asking that helps them kind of hone it all in. And be able to kind of really clarify what it is that they're needing.
Yeah, that's good. I always thank them for sharing. I'm always like, thank you for sharing all of that with me. I really appreciate you being vulnerable and open. And then I'll say something like, one of my favorite questions is, if you could change one thing that would have the biggest impact on everything else, what would that one thing be? And it's usually something to do with their nutrition or their mindset or something like that, that it will boil down to something that you can have like a tangible solution for. And then when they identify that, it's then asking the question, what would life look like for you if you were able to get a handle on this? So then you're starting to get that why. You're starting to get into that deeper connection to the difference that is available to them, so that you can keep pulling back to that through the conversation.
So like if someone in that situation, if someone says, that nutrition is the piece that I most struggle with. And then what is the segue between them saying that and what do we do? Because I can talk to it, but it doesn't always translate into them taking action or me knowing how to put them in a place to take action.
I would get them to get clearer about what specifically about nutrition is the problem. Like, what is it? Get down to the nitty gritty. And then speak to whatever it is that you're inviting them to. Oh, excuse me, the part of the challenge or the part of the process that you're inviting them to that speaks specifically to that problem. So if she says, it's my nutrition, I struggle with being consistent. I struggle with snacking. I struggle with knowing what the right thing is to eat. I don't know how much I should be eating, blah, blah, blah. You'll be like, okay, girl, I hear you. I remember this struggle so much for myself. It's like I'm talking to myself. In the group that we're doing, this is a big piece of what we're going to be focused on. We've got a nutrition plan that is around portion control. So it's going to give you a whole the whole system is based around what to eat, how much of it to eat in order to achieve your goals, so that it takes all of that question mark out of the equation. Do you think that sounds like something that would help you? So it's like connecting, you have to get to the nitty gritty of what. So if they say nutrition, you can't just leave it there. You have to understand what about nutrition is the problem, and then relate it to one of the nutrition programs that you have to offer, or how you're going to focus on nutrition in the challenge that you're doing, and then ask them, this is exactly what we're going to be focused on. Do you think that could help you?
Mm-hmm.
If it was exercise, you do the same thing. What specifically about exercise? Okay, in this chat, if they say, I just don't have the time or the motivation to work out. Okay, in this challenge, we're doing 20-minute workouts. It's a different workout every single day, so you cannot get bored. We're all doing it together, so we're having that camaraderie and that excitement and energy of all of us doing it together. Do you think that would help you show up better? See what I mean? So you find the pain point, as it were, and then speak to how what you have to offer is the solution for that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to sit with that pain point though for a little bit. So I used to push through it, like, oh, okay, well, this is the solution. And you want people to feel that, because you want people to be like, oh man, I don't want to be here anymore. Right? If we kind of rush to solve problems right away, I think it takes away from that that motivation for them to do some of the work. So I try to ask, like, the goal should be to ask as many questions. Like when you're having conversations with people, you want them to be doing most of the talking, and you're just asking questions to clarify, right? Like what Sab said when she said, you know, get more specific, like nutrition. There's so many aspects of nutrition. What is it about it? Right. And then I might ask if they're like, oh, I'm really inconsistent. Okay. Why do you think that is? Right. Get to know what it is. Cause sometimes often people are all or nothing kind of people, where they're like, I'm all in. And then I'm cutting everything, and they're eating, a salad or, whatever all day long. And that's just not sustainable. Right. And again, it's just like making observations. Wow, I'm like, that doesn't seem very sustainable. How was that for you? Like saying things like that, so that they're like, you're right, it wasn't sustainable. Because when you do that, and then all of a sudden you go back to something like to be mindset, where you're not restricting, you're just, prioritizing your diet in a very different way. Then they're like, wait a minute, I can have all this still too. And you're like, which is a matter of just kind of prioritizing what's like how you eat. Right. But I think it's important to ask a lot of questions and just be making like subtle observations. Like, oh, that seems like a lot. Yeah, no, it was a lot. Let them be the one that does most of the talking.
100%. And I think it's important to like, one of my favorite questions to ask is, what have you tried before? How did that work? Because then it gives them the capacity to share with you what they've done before, get clear on why it didn't work. And so that gives you more, what's the word? Information about what it is that they need. If they if you can help them connect the dots of what they've tried before and why specifically it didn't work, then you can help them kind of figure out what a sustainable solution would be for them. Right? Like something I shared on my social yesterday was, I'm a volume eater. I like to eat a lot of food, and I like to eat a lot of different types of food in the sitting that I'm in. It's just how I prefer to eat. So when I was trying to follow the industry standard of 5 to 6 small meals a day, I'm already somebody who has a troublesome relationship with food. So having to think about eating every 2 hours exacerbated the fact that I was obsessed with food, right? And then eating 5 small meals, it didn't honor how I like to eat, which is to eat a big, huge meal. And so making that adjustment, this is what I shared on my social yesterday, making that adjustment to eating 3 huge meals a day and fasting the rest of the time is a way to eat that works so well for me, because I'm honoring my preferences. So I didn't say this is how everyone has to do it. The point of sharing that was, what are your preferences? What have you done before that hasn't worked for you? How can we shift that to make it make sense for you? So it's getting into their understanding and helping them understand that there isn't one way that it has to be done. We have to figure out what the right way is for them. And you can only do that by asking all the questions.
I think for most people, it's inconsistency, and also they don't stick with it long enough to see anything, right? And so that is often a question that I ask, well, how long were you doing that for? Right? Because often they're like, like a month. And I'm like, well, shit, like you can't, like what could you do and learn and be really good at in a month? If you're consistent with something every single day, yeah, that probably would work. But most people are giving up way, right? Like you do one round of lava and you're like, I thought it was gonna look like Elise. This sucks. It doesn't work. It's like, well, no. She does it every single day of her life for 40 years. Like, be gone. It's the same kind of thing. But I think it's important to give people small wins. Like one of my partners and clients right now, Tilly, I love how she's doing that. She's always struggled with consistency. She's always struggled with like all in stuff. And I was like, Tilly, let's just do one thing at a time. This is only 20 minutes. And she's really been loving it and sticking with it and like showing her progress along the way. And she's like getting some sustainable results. It's not like, 10 pounds in 1 week, but it's been a gradual every single week. You can see that she's lost more weight. You can see that she's, you can see it in her pictures too. And that is such a great, and I'm like praising her like crazy. Like, oh my gosh, look at you go. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing all this stuff because I want her to feel that sense of like, okay, I did this for 6 weeks. I got this. Right. I think sometimes as soon as we get people over that hurdle of like, just, me quit at 21. What would happen if you did this for 30 days?
Yeah.
You like take it one day at a time and then be like, oh, we did it 30 days. You're survived. Look how good you're doing. What if we did it for not 15 days, right? And that's what I love about these programs and how they're, especially like with the super blocks and how they're 21 days. I'm always like, that's such a good time to kind of get yourself in momentum and also always talking about like, okay, let's keep it going, right? Fitness, you never arrive at fitness, right? There's not a set number of push-ups you do and your arms are like, here it is. I never have to do a push-up again. You're always having to kind of continue and evolve. And that's why I love the platform because it has so many different varieties to choose from. If I was just doing it all the time, I'd get bored. Now I get to do lava and I get to do cycling and I get to do this. So these are some of the things. Of course, I'm not divulging all this at once, but I'm saying like you can use some of these pieces that you connect with to support people because they're sharing all these things that they can't do. It's like, yeah, well, 21 days it's not that much. I mean, it's great. Let's keep it going, but we can't just do it and expect to have results in 30 days. Right. So switching that mindset is like, this isn't just the 30. That's what I've been trying to focus on too, is like the wording of this, because I don't like the whole idea of like, oh, after 30 days, then what? Right. And so making sure that we're like, this is a milestone towards your goals. And every time you you finish it, you're like, yes, I get rewarded with that badge, which I'm obsessed with badges. I was like my little dangling carrot.
I want my badge.
I will do this program even if I hate it. I want the damn badge. I sure will.
Kel's like, yeah, I'll do every program for the badge. But that was going to be my next point actually, is like reiterating or sprinkling in there what the support of you looks like on the other side, because they probably think that you're going to give them this, they're going to get their access, they're going to buy the thing, and then that's it. They're maybe not going to hear from you again, or two, it's like the end of the challenge, so 28 days, 30 days or whatever, and then peace out, we're done. It's like they need to understand what the support looks like on the backside of this, that they're never really going to fully understand until they get there. But it's like helping them like get a picture of having you as their coach and what that actually looks like in terms of the accountability and the support and the, asking questions and figuring this out and making it make sense for them, making it work for them. That's what you're there for, is to help them like implant this stuff on the back end.
So I understand how we get the email. I usually have the women that I work with send me an email, and to be honest, I don't know what I'm sending them in the email. I haven't sent an email to them yet. I'm just collecting emails because I know that that's like one of the business models, is that you collect emails so that you can stay connected, you can communicate. So I don't know if you guys are, if that's something that you are still doing, are you sending, because I know you do the weekly check-in and that comes through our email.
As in
So
for current clients, like when somebody signs up, like how?
yes, when somebody signs up or when somebody shows interest. So if somebody's in a body group, I mean, not a body group, if somebody's in a group that I have on Facebook and I get the email, I want to use the email to send them information about the big picture, the group, you know?
Yeah.
So I just didn't know for you guys, what are you guys doing with that and how is that working?
So whenever I get somebody's email to then give them more information, it always comes after we've gone back and forth, like in messages. And then when it gets to the point where I'm wanting to present the solution for them, I get the email address and then take it onto email. And what I send them is like a very brief overview of what my challenge or what my community is, paying particular attention to what they said they need. So I don't just tell them, oh, you get all of this stuff and all of this stuff, and this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing week on week on week. It's like if they said they struggle with nutrition, yes, I tell them that they get access to the whole platform that includes the workouts, but I pinpoint the nutrition programming. So I get very focused on what it is that they said they struggle with. And then I have a graphic, like when it gets to the point where they're saying, this sounds great. How do I sign up? I have a graphic that I send them to choose their package. So I don't have to like go through and explain, oh, with this one, you get this, and this, because it gets confusing. So I just have like a singular graphic that I send, and I don't think I can send it here so that you can pick it. I'll message it to you. That is just basically I have one that is all the different tiers. I created tiers of memberships, so they include growth day and gut protocol and all that kind of stuff. But then I have another one that's just the annual body options, the TSP options. So I'll send you that one to help them see what they'll actually get in like a graphic picture form. But when it comes to explaining to them what they're signing up for, I just give them the very brief kind of, this is what the challenge is, this is what we're focused on, paying particular attention to what it is they said they need. Cal, do you do the same?
Yeah, I think at that point I do have like a PDF that I attach that has kind of like a little bit about my information, like who I am and why I'm doing this, like that kind of. This is after the fact, after they're already shown interest in that kind of stuff. I try to do like Sab does, like most of the conversating, like via voice message and things like that. But when they're ready, when they're wanting more information, that's when I send them kind of this PDF that has, you know, like I said, my information, what my group is all about, and that kind of stuff. And I keep it brief. I think it's only 2 pages, and on the back of it is my little tiers of like choices, and I say like what you're getting for, you know, I think it's like gold, silver, and bronze package. And when I send them the email, I'm like, it was so great to talk to you, see the attachment, and let me know which package you're getting, and I'll send you your link right away. So it's like I kind of do a little call to action in that right away, but they get graphic and they get everything, that all the information they need. And it's just more background on like who I am, like kind of like my credibility or that kind of stuff. Because I put my professional stuff in there too, just so that they know who they're working with. But again, you
don't need that, but this is good for down the line. For sure. Like all of my stuff is branded and all that kind of stuff, which is why I'm not sharing with you the tiers ones that I've got, because it's not going to help you. But this generic kind of annual body pack one is a good jumping off point. So yeah, like keep it simple. Don't overthink. You know that you have to tell them everything. Like keep it narrowed down to the top 3 things they need to know that target the problem that they said they had. That's what I would say.
Cool. I target the problem in the body of the email. Like, thank you for sharing this. I remember, remind them of what they shared, and how what you have to offer can support them.
Yeah. And I always, like, in that communication, I always assume that they're going to sign up. So I will say, like, similar to what Kelly said, on the back, you'll see the different package options. Let me know which one sounds the best for you, and I'll send you the link for it. Not, let me know what you think. Like, no, it's like, tell me which one you want, and I'll send you the link for it. I always assume that it's a
Right.
given, you know?
The more back and forth you do, the less likely it's gonna close.
Once you get to that stage.
It's just too much. Just
Yeah.
send the thing and do that. And then that's also a good point, a good time to be like, hey, and if you like, let me know today. If you sign up today, offer that whatever bonus it is. Like, I've been giving away like those yoga blocks for people. That's been because they're not really expensive. And I've just been doing the Amazon, just shipping it straight to their house with like a little thank you note. Has been my like incentive. Like, if you sign up today, here's your link. Sign up today, and I'll send you the yoga blocks, right?
Yeah, giving a deadline is crucial.
I'm gonna say today only.
Today only. Today. Do it today. This was so good. I think this was was it helpful, T?
Yes, it was very helpful.
Yay, good. I'm glad. And I know the ladies, I know Wendy will get a lot out of this when she watches the recording, and anybody else who Kat will love this too. I think this will be really helpful. So thank you for coming with the questions and asking the good stuff, and use this now, right? Like, use everything that we've talked about and put it into action, because this is the cadence of getting people to be part of your ecosystem and having them be in a position where you can help them change the things that they're unhappy with, is going through this system. So start implementing it.
All right.
Cool. All right, ladies.
I won't be at our call tonight because
yeah, you're flying. You're on an airplane.
Sorry, I'm bummed. I love you.
No worries. But yeah, our other team call is at 7:00 Eastern time tonight. If you can be there, we'll talk about different things. But yeah, Cal, safe travels. Enjoy
Safe
yourself.
travels.
Enjoy yourself. And we'll see you on the 7th. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.